So make yourselves comfortable. Take a deep breath and relax. Let the breath happen. It can happen completely automatically, but you want to keep your attention on it while allowing it to take its own shape and depth and frequency. The breath is always changing. The breath comes and it goes all by itself, whether you watch it or not. But when you watch it, when you tie your attention to the breath, it becomes something special. It's a gateway into yourself. Imagine taking a step back from your body and just watching, seeing the breath come and go, actually feeling it as well, without having to get involved. Knowing what the breath is like, knowing each breath. And sometimes noticing if you try and smooth the breath or regulate it in any way. Just tell yourself, I'm stepping in. And then let go. Step back. And watch the breath. And think of this as non-interference. Awake, alert, even intense, but hands off. This is mindfulness. Staying with the breath. Watching this moment, feeling it, and listening to it too. You hear something, no matter how quiet. Maybe from outside or inside your body. Noticing these sounds also from a distance. You're detached. Not trying to take control. Instead, trying to observe. Objective. Without judgment. Without expectation. Ideally, without a clue. Completely open-minded. Staying with the breath. And now taking 3 more breaths, open your eyes. Okay. So today, this week, we're talking about automaticity. Automaticity. This is really what we're trying to break with our attention and with mindfulness. And yet, we can't live without it. It's absolutely essential. You know, when Caroline and I first decided to do this mindfulness support, we thought, wow, this is so easy, it's so simple. Just half an hour, 3 times a week, no brainer. So all I had to do was set up a membership site, and then I found out other things I had to do, this and that. And so within a couple of days, I'm up to my eyeballs in stuff which I don't understand. And I'm staring at it and I'm trying to understand, is this what I need? So I'm Googling things like how to set up a mindfulness site, and I find all sorts of options and I have to try them out. Some of them work, some of them don't work, some of them are not even appropriate. I don't know what I'm looking for. So I'm staring at this stuff for day after day, sometimes getting frustrated, but sometimes having a little moment of, oh, I got it, something connected. And then I've realized what I'm doing is basically I'm waiting for the automaticity to kick in. Okay, I'm waiting for this little fact and that little fact to operate together to initiate a third fact, which suddenly I understand and it makes sense. And then I start seeing not just facts, but sequences. Okay, this is my brain doing its patterning thing. It's what brains do. They're pattern recognition systems, basically. I mean, they do more than that, obviously, but that's how they begin. So automaticity is a process of looking for and learning and then becoming, in a sense, the automatic behavior. So when you're learning how to use computers, that's useful. When you're learning how to learn anything or how to do anything, when you're learning about a person and how you can best connect with this person, how you can relate to them well and how you relate to them badly. There's all sorts of automaticity going on. We learn rather consciously, quite mindfully, In order to learn, you have to be pretty mindful. When I was staring at the screen like that, baffled, I was full of attention. I didn't have any understanding. And that's generally the balance. The more you understand something, the more familiar you are with the situation, the less likely you are to be mindful about it. Unless you really make a conscious attempt and say, let's be mindful about this. Okay, this is something worth paying attention to. It's so automatic that I don't need to look, like the breath. You don't need to look at the breath. It won't stop. But when you do, it feels different. You're getting something by watching the breath that you don't get when you don't watch it. You're simply bringing your attention to it. This is the power of mindfulness. This is what wakens you up. It's called awakening. The process of mindfulness is awakening. Some people think that awakening is a goal at the end of mindfulness, but there's no end to mindfulness. How could there be? We just keep doing what we can. So that's what automaticity is, and that's how it can be good and how it can be bad. So basically, this is the ground that we're working in, okay? You've got basically a stimulus response system, which is you, okay? Something hits you and you react or you respond. If it's something very, very familiar, if it's an old friend who says, hi, how are you? Great to see you. You'll say the same thing. Your heart will leap up and you'll say, wow, it's good to see you. And you feel this response, which is lovely. But sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you see somebody's face and you go, oh God, you know, and that's just the way you feel. You can't do anything about it. You might pretend that you don't feel that way. And that's exactly the moment when mindfulness is really useful, okay? Because you're questioning yourself. Oh my God, well, I said that, but I did this. Well, I can understand there are all sorts of social reasons. I might be an awful hypocrite, but oh, I just judged myself. Okay, so this is how we proceed. The idea that automaticity, okay, automaticity, reactivity, yeah, same thing. Just for the record, okay? Normally when we talk about reactivity, we're talking about a particular event. In automaticity, I just mean this particular style of learning and living that is very human, okay? We are constantly moving into automatic. We're constantly trying to make life easy for ourselves by not having to be fully conscious and fully mindful because it's very demanding. But we know that when we are fully conscious and fully mindful, then life is more rewarding. And also you have more say in what goes on because you can stop going down those automated paths to really awful situations of anger or self-doubt or frustration or depression, or they lead in all sorts of familiar places. And another aspect of automaticity, of course, is the comfort of these places that it takes you, the comfort zones that we go to. I'm so stupid. I can't get this stuff. I could never learn this stuff. Okay. I actually did do that while I was staring at the computer. There were points where I just wanted to give it like, screw this, you know, I got things to do. And I did feel that way. I took a breath and I got over it and I moved on. Now, that's what we do, right? That's how we do it. But the point is, I did see it. I saw it kicking in, and that's give myself a pat on the back for that. And I say, okay, Stephen, you're still doing it. You're still managing to be mindful sometimes. It's good. The idea that all automaticity is bad is clearly wrong. I mean, it's essential. So when is it wrong? Well, basically, the criteria what we're looking for is to become less reactive, especially reactive in the negative ways. But you also have to be less reactive in the positive ways as well. So when somebody says, hey, it's great to see you, somebody you love, and you feel this surge, it's very good to see that surge, that pleasure, that emotional. The more clearly you see that when it happens, then the more clearly when your response is anger or frustration, the more clearly you'll see that too. And while you don't want to stop the pleasure, you do want to stop at least the manifestation of the anger. You want to at least stop reacting to it automatically, and you want the chance to think about it. And that's where mindfulness steps in. It breaks the link between stimulus and response, and it gives you a moment. And because you're practicing regularly, that moment becomes, with a bit of luck, a couple of seconds. And in a couple of seconds, you can do a lot. You can start changing your behavior. And you can start changing whole relationships and whole situations simply by not reacting in the way you customarily do. And when you're involved in a dance with another person, the dance of love or a dance of anger, then as soon as you change one of the rules, because that dance is automated too, there's an automaticity, not just in your mind, but between the two of you. It's cool when it's not horrible. You know, it can be really nasty, and it can be absolutely wonderful. Love and hate, right? So the idea is to see that and to have the choice. I don't have to react like this. I don't have to just keep exchanging names. Every time I meet this person, we get involved in the same sort of argument. It's always the same. I'm always trying to convince him he's wrong. He's always trying to convince me I'm wrong. So when you describe the situation like that to yourself, when you actually spell it out and you realize the futility of behaving like this, then you stop doing it. But when you don't, when we don't describe this to others, when we just sort of go through it and say, oh, thank God he's gone. And then the next time he comes, we do it again, and we do it again. It's the definition of madness, right? But we do it. It's human behavior. We all do that unless we do something about it. In other words, become mindful, become attentive, pay attention. So that's the basic dynamic of mindfulness, is to interrupt automaticity. And there's a certain evaluation going on there. You might call it judgment, I suppose, but that might cause some confusion. That there's an evaluation of, is this automaticity good or bad? Basically, is this serving me, or is this contributing to what, some sort of discomfort, unhappiness, frustration, anger, negativity of any sort, self-doubt? Automaticity doesn't just happen in relation to other people, it happens in relation to ourselves. You sit quietly for half an hour and you see all sorts of automaticity. So, first of all, you just become familiar with it. You stare at it. And if you can stare uncomprehendingly, that's sort of helpful, because that really cuts out the judgment and the expectation. And you're just looking at yourself being reacted. Look at the way you react as you walk around the house. As you look at the sink and you see it's full of dirty dishes, how do you react? Okay. Anything like that. When you look out at the sky and it's gray or it's blue, what's the difference? What do you feel? And what do you do with that feeling? Okay, we're a little tight on time, but it's one thing I really, maybe it's too complicated. Oh, I don't think so. I just want to clarify. Stimulus comes from outside, triggers one or more of your senses. Okay, so there is a physical response from your body which goes to the brain. That feels like something. Okay, you're going to feel good or bad about that. That's your basic judgment thing kicking in. Now, what's next is how you react to that judgment of yours, or that inclination. Okay, That is where the automation comes in. That's where you have a choice. You don't have any choice on what stimulus is coming in, and you don't really have any choice on how your senses respond, or you don't have any choice over the way your senses note the stimulus, the way it comes in. It's only the next step. So when you feel bad or when you feel angry, the tendency is to say, oh, I shouldn't feel angry. I'm a mindful person. I'm going to stop feeling angry and I'm going to be kind. And that's a mistake. That is not mindfulness. That's mind control, which may not be an entirely bad thing, but it's a totally different thing. Okay? So just try and keep this clear that the stimulus is not the cause of your problem, although it looks like it. The feeling is not the cause of your problem, it's the trigger. And the problem itself is your learned behavior, your automated learned behavior. And that's where you can affect change. It's the only place you can actually make any change, but it's the most important place, so that's fine. It works. It takes practice. Well, you know that. Okay. I'm making a diagram of this and we will put it on the website. I'll send you a link soon. Okay. Right. Make yourselves comfortable. Taking a breath. Letting it go. And you're allowing yourself to sit for the next few minutes and do nothing. Nothing you have to do, not even with your brain. Just sitting aware. In fact, you need to be careful to not do. You have to keep an eye on that font of automated behavior. Just watching the breath. Feeling the moment. Staying with the breath. And being aware, being on guard for the tendency to act, to do, or to think about something. Letting go. And going back to the breath. And the breath comes in. It goes out. And you feel your body, your posture. You feel the warmth of your body, the beating heart and pulsing blood, the nerve endings sending signals all over your body. awareness of yourself, of your situation, the room you're in, the time of day. The life that surrounds you, the things that surround you, and the people. And you breathe. And you know, and you say to yourself that I'm awake, paying attention. I'm here. And allow yourself that stillness. Just one more minute. Staying with the breath. Staying with the present moment. Staying in your body, in your mind, in this moment of reality which includes you, which is you and the world around, all meshed together. And taking 3 more breaths, open your eyes. Okay. So I'd like you to pay attention to your own automaticity. Just if you can take notes, if you keep a book, a little diary or something, just take notes at the end of the day. What automatic behavior did you notice today? That's all. That's all for today. If you'd like to leave, please go ahead. You can say goodbye or just slip away, and the rest of us will be here for a few minutes.